Human design or gene keys? Which system should you learn or start to use first? Hello, if you are new here, my name is Ebony. I'm a human design and gene keys reader, expert, and coach. And in this video, we're going to be talking about how you can use human design and gene keys, how they can work together, and which one I think you should personally start with. So, just a little bit of background. Human design is a system that was channeled, right, from a man named Ra Uru, not his real name, in 1987, right? Gene Keys is a system that was created by Richard Rudd many years later, right? So Gene Keys is actually an offshoot of the human design system. These 64 gates in Gene Keys are, I don't want to say taken, but they're taken from these 64 gates in human design, which are actually based off of the I Ching, which is a very ancient Chinese system. So that's like the background, right? That's what you want to know before like jumping into this, right? So gene keys and human design, because they're so intrinsically connected, they work very well together. But I get a lot of questions of, okay, I get gene keys, I get human design, but which one should I work with more? Which one should I work with first? And my opinion is it's easier and makes more sense to start with gene keys. Now, let me tell you why. Gene keys is a beautiful system. It's esoteric, it's archetypal, it's extremely accurate, and it goes very deep into 3 different areas, right? In the first sequence, right? There's 3 sequences. In the first sequence, we are unlocking our 4 prime gifts. We are stepping into our purpose and we're anchoring into that. We're becoming very stable in that, right? In the second sequence, we're opening up our heart. The Venus sequence, we are healing our trauma. We're becoming aware of the trauma first. First things first, let's realize we actually got some trauma. We're healing our trauma. We're connecting with our inner children. We are looking at our deepest wounds and we're accepting them and we're embracing them and we're giving them love in order to open our heart so that when we come into an energetic experience with another person, we're able to hold it in a healthy way, right? And then the third sequence is the pearl sequence. The pearl sequence is where we're starting to step into service, right? We're taking our purpose and we're now focusing on being of service and creating prosperity. Because the fact of the matter is, you live in the world right now, you need money, right? So the pearl sequence really starts to give us the tools that we need in order to be of service and to create prosperity for ourselves so that we're able to live. And I actually have an entire video breaking down the pearl sequence. So if you're interested in that, I'll go ahead and link that for you to watch. So anyway, the thing about gene keys is that it goes so deep, but it still very much to me feels like an overview. It is the grand scheme of things. It is the big picture. It is the main archetypes. It is looking at a map. It's literally a genetic map of yourself. The thing that I think gene keys as a system lacks is tangible daily action, right? Like for me, my purpose is in gate 34, which is the gate of power, right? And the gate of power is all about making things happen, right? It's about it's about living in response, right? It's generating creative energy to do the things that you love. It's a very magnetic gate. It's in the sacral center. And it's so, like, to just read about what this gate is, right? And the shadow, the gift, and the city. The city of this gate is majesty. I'm like, oh my God, that's amazing. Majesty? My purpose is to be majestic? Oh, period. But like, day to day, what does that look like? Right? Like, what are the steps one would take on a regular ass Tuesday to be in the city of majesty, right? The way that Richard Rudd describes these gates is fantastic, but it's lacking in the action department. Okay, now that I know, what do I do? And I think that human design does an amazing job of giving you those day-to-day actions, right? Because knowing that I have gate 34 And knowing that it's in the sacral center, now I have something to do. Now I have tangible daily actions that I can take based on what I know about this gate from working with human design for so long. So gate 34, I know, okay, I need to follow what is exciting me, what is lighting me up. So how do I figure out what that is? Well, I use my human design authority, right? Human design gives us authority, which is basically our inner guidance system. It's our intuition. It's the thing that helps us make decisions. We get that from human design. We get the action, we get the movement from our authority, from our human design. Also, we have strategy in human design, right? Our strategy is how we're meant to interact with the things around us. As a manifesting generator, I'm meant to respond. Gene Keys doesn't necessarily tell us that. And it's not supposed to. That's not its job. So Gene Keys is the overview. It's the big picture. And then human design comes in and it gives us the daily action. It gives us our strategy. It gives us our authority. It tells us where we need to let things go, where we need to surrender, right? Our undefined centers. And then it tells us where we are defined. It tells us where we have the most power, the most energetic weight. And we want to lean into those, right? Our defined centers. That's what we get from human design. So for me, the process that I use for myself, the process that I use for my clients, we learn the Gene Keys first. We look at the map of ourselves first. We understand what are the really big themes that are going on. We understand what are the traumas manifesting as? How do they show up in our lives? We're contemplating how these things have affected our life experience up to this point. Then we use human design. Going forward, how do I want to act? How can I work and play and live in alignment? Right? Now that I have the big picture, what's the small details? That's what we get from human design. I'm meant to respond. I'm meant to respond to the things that excite me the most, that light me up the most, right? And then we have channels, right? Our channels are basically our main behaviors because that's where the energy is being transmuted. That's where it's moving from one center to the next. So, in my opinion, that is probably the best way to incorporate these two systems together and work with them in a way that makes sense and actually helps us make change. So if you are interested in that, if you have any questions, go ahead and leave them down below in the comments, and I will see you in the next video.